My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of the TV show The River. Now, this is a show that back when I was getting into horror movies, I heard about, and I really wanted to watch this show because it's getting made by the guy who made the first Paranormal Activity movie, Owen Pelly. And I'm just like, okay, I want to see a horror TV show. So anyways, I never watched it back then, but like many years later, I finally watched it, and I have to say that I think this is one of the worst TV shows I've ever watched. Yeah, I know that's quite the statement, but I did not enjoy this show in any way whatsoever. But let's begin with what I did like. I do like the premise that a family's looking for their dad, who's this explorer guy lost in the Amazon jungle, and they go up and down the river looking for him. That's a great premise. And my other positives are... shit. I don't have any. Okay, on to my negatives. This show's incredibly boring. Oh my god, for a horror show, you'd expect more life and more energy into this, but no. This show is as dull as they come. Every single character is incredibly uninteresting, and no one brings any sort of life or energy into their characters. I had zero investment in anything going on because I did not care about a single character or a single relationship. The entire plot of this show is them looking for their dad, for the husband, and I did not care about that. The acting I found to be incredibly bland and boring, and let's talk about found footage. What should found footage be used for? Excellent question, I'm glad you asked. It should be used to portray horror events in a realistic way. You watch the Blair Witch Project, and it's about these kids lost in the woods, but it just feels real because of the found footage aspect. Same with the first Paranormal Activity movie. Now since then, it's been overused quite a bit, and in this show, it's used in the worst possible way. It's like there's a documentary crew documenting everything, but just the amount of camera angles throughout the show, it's like it doesn't even want to be a found footage show, but for some reason, like, it's on all the contracts that it has to be. Like, there's a scene where they walk into a room and they start looking around and they open up a cupboard. And then we get a camera angle of them opening the cupboard from inside the cupboard. So that someone put a camera inside that cupboard in case someone opened that cupboard. Like, there's just so many camera angles, and at no point does it feel like it actually wants to immerse you in what's going on. At no point does it feel realistic. If anything, it's absolutely distracting because it feels like, oh, how are we going to capture these two people talking? Let's have some guy filming them without their permission, and it's just so contrived. It's the worst use of found footage I've ever used because it's not just shaky and takes away from everything when it's going down. It just makes no sense. There's no logic behind it. There's no cohesiveness behind it. There's some moments where you're just like, who is filming this now? Like, there's a section of the plot where they find these tapes of the guy they're looking for, and he was documenting stuff. And okay, and if the show was found footage in only those moments, I'd be like, okay, the found footage was used in an interesting manner here. But that's not the case. Every moment's found footage, and it just, like, at some point, it borders on self-parody because there are these two people having a real personal moment, and there's just this cameraman sneaking up on them, recording the conversation. It's atrocious. I hate it, and I thought, like, the shakiness and all that, you know, it's fine for an hour and 20-minute long movie, but at, like, an 8-hour TV show, it was just like, no, it's excessive. It's way, way, way too much. And for a whole TV show, this show isn't even remotely scary. You know, it's got lots of proper recipes. You've got supernatural stuff going on. There's a moment where they come across this tree with all these different doors. There's all these whole elements, but at no point was this show actually scary. At no point did it build tension or build atmosphere. It was just so empty. So whenever a jump scare comes out of nowhere, it just feels so, oh, was I supposed to be scared though? Because I definitely wasn't. You need more than the, ah! You actually need to build tension and atmosphere, and this show is just completely empty of that. And every single jump scare just feels completely, what's the word? terrible. The jump scares weren't effective in any way. And there's always one of those moments where they find something mysterious and then all this crazy stuff is going down and you just can't tell what's going on, and it's just nauseating. It's not scary, it's annoying, and they need to stop doing stuff like that. And I know this show's made on network television, but just the fact that so many swear words are beeped out, it takes you right out of it. Like, why would you beep out swear words? Like, even on the DVD. Like, just don't have the characters say those words then. Just a very baffling decision. Very baffling indeed. The story, like I said, I had zero investment in. It gets into more dumb territory as the show progresses, and I'm not gonna lie, I completely checked out. Like, I watched the show and I just checked out. If you ask me what this show's about in a week from now, I wouldn't be able to tell you because I just found it mind-numbingly boring. Like, there's no sense of energy or personality to it. There's just nothing to keep you engaged, to keep you hooked, and oh my goodness, I had a hard time getting through this show. Like, for a whole TV show set in the Amazon jungle, this show is just really boring on an impressive scale, really. Like, how do you make a show with all this potential to be this awful, to be this horrendous? Look, I'm not going to drag this review out. I absolutely hated this show. It's one thing if there's a bad, boring horror movie that's over after an hour and a half, but for an entire season of television to be as bad as this, it's just mind-numbingly boring to get through. I found this show very difficult to watch. It's never even remotely scary. Every attempt at an actual scare is just completely laughable. There's no tension, there's no atmosphere, there's no interesting characters. I didn't care about anyone. Everyone's incredibly bland. The performances all fall completely flat. It's the found footage aspect is just terribly handled throughout. I hated this show. Like, as of now, I think this might be one of the worst shows I've ever watched. Like, even a show as bad as The Flash, at least you can watch it in a so bad it's good kind of way. Like, you can laugh at how ridiculous and stupid it is. There's at least some energy and entertainment there. But this show, I just have there's no reason to ever watch it. It's atrocious. I despised it. So I'm going to go ahead and give The River 0.5 out of 10. Okay, have you seen The River? I'm sorry to hear that. But let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon, and Gavin out.